Welcome to the Brooklyn Podcast with yours truly, Anthony Puccio, my co-host, Colin Helwig. Colin, the Nets are the worst they've been in 10 years, but we're only through 5 games. It hasn't been pretty. They've been really ugly and long losses. Before we get into that, though, I want to ask you, what's your ugliest L that you've ever taken in a game?
Ugliest L. For me, it's easier to remember like most heartbreaking L than ugliest L. I don't know if I can remember my ugliest L. I still have memories of specific instances in like baseball growing up. There was one game where we had like a kid on the mound who was like not like he was not a good pitcher. Like I
Yeah,
don't remember his name, but I remember me and all my friends were like, yeah, we're gonna like rock this kid.
yeah,
And it was just an entire game of hard hit balls right into the outfield or like right
yep.
back up at like first or third base. And I just remember we lost the game like 1-2, and I was the last person to hit. And I lined out to first base with like a kid on second, and I was like, this kid is not good. Like this kid got me out, but he
Yeah.
is not good.
You know,
I sound like a loser right now talking about
no,
I was
no.
better than this kid in like third grade, but I remember it, so that sticks with me.
Nah, because in Little League baseball or like travel baseball, you'd see like that kid you knew didn't throw hard, like he didn't pitch a lot. He was their first baseman or outfielder, and you'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna eat today."
Like we
I
were
know that's
shocked that he was taking the mound against us. Like it was
right. Yeah, yeah,
whatever. Congrats to him. He got the win. He did beat us.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
He
remember your
got the
name, I
W.
did, but you did it. You did do it. So
You know, in some alternate universe, Colin, this guy might be sitting somewhere being asked on a podcast, "What's his best W ever?" And it was against you.
it was. It was. He beat me. I got to tip my cap.
If it makes you feel any better, my old basketball days, AAU, IS8, my first AAU game ever. The New York Gauchos beat us 63-3.
That's just mean.
It's mean.
Basketball is a sport where you're up enough. We literally see it in the NBA. You can let the other team score. Like you
Oh
can
yeah,
like
not in the hood, not in Southside Jamaica, Queens. Like they were having fun with that. You know, like
gee,
we were a couple of years younger. You know, we were playing up, but the Gauchos had at that time a couple of D1 players, and I think a couple of guys ended up playing in the NBA. I don't think they had long careers, but like
mm,
it was so embarrassing. I mean, if anybody that's listening to this podcast knows IS8, like it's a gym that fills up if there's a game. Like no matter what, if there's a game going on there, people are out, and we got slaughtered. I was just happy because I was like 8 years old playing with 15-year-olds, and I got the one assist on the basket.
got
So
the one.
yeah, 63-3, New York Gauchos. It's bad.
Well, we're definitely not going to get this out in time but Pooch, it's Halloween. So all week I've been talking with people about Halloween. Do you fuck with Halloween?
No, no, I
I
don't
don't either.
actually. I
Okay.
like I think this is one of my least favorite holidays. I don't fuck with going into the city and seeing people in masks, like being in like public places and not really knowing what's gonna happen. Like it's not that I'm living paranoid, but I'm very, I think in public spaces, like in nowadays, like in this day and age, like it's very daunting, you know, and I don't know who to trust. But I never really rocked it. I never rocked with Halloween. I don't know. Like it was fun in middle school, I think, in elementary school, getting candy, egging people, shaving cream. But like it's the Day of the Dead. It kind of freaks me out a little bit.
I just feel goofy. I've always felt goofy wearing a costume, and I hate
Yeah.
thank God it's on a Friday this year. I hate the people who are like, if it's on a Wednesday, so all right, it's Halloween, you're going out the Friday. This was more of a college thing, and when you were going out all the time. Is it the weekend before or is it the weekend after? And so if I wear my costume, it's going to be a shitty costume regardless, because again, I don't like dressing up. But if I do it on the one before, I've put my token in the slot. I've done it.
Yeah.
I did it. I did Halloween. It's over. But then you go out the next weekend and it's this other group's like, oh, it's they're
Yeah.
doing it this week. So they're like, oh, where's your costume? No, I did it already. I did it. It's over.
Right.
I don't like Halloween. And I fully acknowledge that this is the attitude of a party pooper, but it's just how I feel. I don't think I'm a party pooper in other aspects of life, but this is the one where it is not for me. So I was curious if you felt the same or not. It sounds like you
The
did
the
though.
recipe for you is to just go as yourself.
The last I did, because I always find something I can like slip into. So
Yeah.
medium blonde hair, I did Carmen from The Bear. I did that for 3 years in a row. I feel like I can't do four. So this year I'm going to put tape on a jersey, the typical lazy dude, and be Jackson Dart, and maybe do
That's a good you would be a good Jackson Dart.
I hope
All
so.
right. I like that. I like that, Colin Hellwig. That's
I am
creative.
getting dragged to an event that I don't wanna go to, though, but that
I was gonna I
I'll
was gonna
I'll
say
I'll
I thought,
elaborate.
you yeah, it happens though, and you just gotta bite the bullet.
Yes. I will not be wearing anything on Saturday. That's for damn sure.
Alright, well, aside from your face maybe scaring some people on Halloween, Colin,
Mhm.
or I should say Jackson Dart,
Yeah.
let's get into some Nets basketball, which has also been very frightening. We could use all of the Halloween puns and scary haunted puns that we want, but we're not going to be so candy corny. Colin, they're 0-5. This hasn't been a fun 0-5, right? This has been one where I feel the Nets are getting blown out. They don't necessarily look like they're in rhythm, or I don't want to say they look unprepared, but they kind of do look unprepared. What are your takeaways? You've been covering every single game firsthand, writing game recaps for Nets Daily. Again, this is the worst that they've been through 5 games since 2015, 2016. We expected this. We expected a tank. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta start with the defense. The defense has been otherworldly horrendous. I don't know if it is through 5, through 4, they'd given up more points in 4
Yeah.
games, or at least in the first 4 games than any other team ever has. They're Jordy even said it before the game the other day. They're not hedging well. They're not
Yeah.
their weak side late rotations are all over the place. They don't really know where they're going. At the offensive end, I mean, the rookies, no one can get by anybody. And
No.
when someone does get by anybody, they can't finish. There's no pressure on the rim whatsoever. The offense is totally
Right.
depends on Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Thomas, really playing in isolation outside of an occasional pick and roll sequence where Claxton gets to the rim. They've done a
Right.
lot of those in the beginning of the game, and it almost feels like, at least with the Clax stuff, it's like, all right, here I am with another NFL analogy, but like, all right, young quarterback, you script the first like 3 drives and it looks great. And then after that, there's like nothing going. And that's kind of what their offense feels like. Their offense hasn't been as bad as the defense, but
Yeah.
both sides of the ball just not very good.
Yeah. And I think our colleague Lucas Kaplan had written a piece. The Nets might have one of the worst defenses in NBA history. And look, I know we're only 5 games through the season, but it certainly looked that way. No team has been dunked on more than the Nets. They have no interior defense at all.
The
Um,
transition too. The transition
right,
is horrendous. That's
right.
where they look the most lost, because that's something where it's all right. You get back, you fill lanes. It's pretty rudimentary how you stop that. They don't do it.
Right, and it's elementary, especially for a team that shoots a lot of 3 pointers. You're taught at an elementary level that you put that three up or you put up a jump shot, the first thing you're doing is getting back on defense, right? Like, these aren't the old days where you would chase your own rebound because other guys don't grab the ball. Like, it's very common sense when it comes to NBA. It's basketball 101, and I think just having lost these fundamentals on my end has been very discerning. Like, seeing Yegor take all of his shots from beyond 3 point and not be able to put the ball on the floor and get to the paint. I don't know how many paint touches he has this year. I don't know if there are any. I cannot really bring up an example where I can say Yegor as a point guard or as a ball handler is getting to the paint and creating offense for others. He's getting the ball and shooting from three. And it's fine if he's a knockdown shooter, but if he can't get on the deck, get that ball on the deck, he's not going to be much more than just a 3 point shooter in the NBA. But
Mhm.
I have a lot of thoughts about this, Colin. I think really though, I texted you after the second game and I said this minute allocation is crazy. Like, if you're going to be full-fledged tank, fine. Like, you're 0-5. playing the veterans. You're 0-5 barely playing the rookies. This year is supposed to be about losing games for a good lottery pick and developing draft picks. Again, I know we're only 5 games into the season, but this is where I was concerned about Jordy Fernandez because he wants to win, he wants to compete, and I don't think he has it in him to play these rookies when they're struggling. Like I don't know if he has it in him to play them at the sake of losing a game if they're struggling when he could put an MPJ or a Nick Claxton or even Cam Thomas. Like I don't think he could resist if a win is there. He's going to go get it, and even at the sake of sitting the rookies, because that's counterproductive to everything they're trying to do here. And I believe it was said to us that this is a unique rebuild that's being done in a traditional way. You cannot do that. It is not going to be successful. And if they end up with a pick outside of the top 5 while playing Terrence Mann 30 minutes a game, this isn't going to look good, man.
Yeah, we're obviously a ways away, but the only thing that I could add to that would be at least it's still we're a pre-trade deadline, so some of the
Right.
logic could be maybe build up some of the veterans so that you can sell them
Yeah.
off. But I don't know if any like it's October, you know what I mean? So I don't
Right.
know if it's that's me kind of reaching to like kind of justify what they're doing. But yeah, Ben and Jaeger combined for 28 minutes in the last game, the game
Yeah.
against who they just play. I was there and I can't remember.
Houston. No.
Well, not Houston. Houston was on the road.
Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah, other red and white team.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I said this to Brian Lewis and Lucas Kaplan before that game, and it was like all the games like blend together. And it's because I don't feel like I'm watching basketball. Like,
Right.
it's because basketball is a competition. These games don't feel like a competition. I'm just watching a team paddle around down 20 points for an hour and a
Right.
half every night. Like there's that
Right.
element of what's going to happen here, what's going to happen next. Are they gonna, like, the closest thing was the
Right.
Spurs game, but that was again sandwiched between more blowouts. It doesn't
Right.
feel like Nets basketball is back. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like you're watching basketball.
I feel the same way, and it reminds me a lot of Kenny Atkinson's first year. Like they would just get blown out the first 3 quarters and make this BS comeback in the fourth because all the starters were sitting right, and the Nets built this identity of being gritty and not giving up. And I think I'm kind of watching these games and seeing them get blown out and waiting for that spark or like waiting for that moment to happen. I know it happened in San Antonio. Cam went crazy. It was single-handedly him just going nuts. And you have to assume some of those games are going to happen. They still lost. Atlanta, they made their push, but it seems like I'm just waiting for that Jordy Fernandez identity to come out, meaning that heart, that like we're never going to give up attitude, like whatever the score is, we're still going to be playing hard. We're going to be getting back on defense. And I just don't feel like I'm seeing that. So when you say the element of competition, like of course, when they're losing and arguably losing on purpose, of course it's not going to feel like we're watching basketball, but like at least if it were fun or if they showed exactly what they're preaching, which is Brooklyn grit, which is, we're going to outwork you, we're going to be more prepared than you, we're going to be better conditioned than you. Well, then they better play like it, even if they're going to lose. A moral victory should, in this year, feel good. The moral victories so far through 5 have not felt good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought the Cleveland one kind of was a moral victory because Jaeger hit that big three and like that was fun and
Yeah.
everything. But again, I think what's kind of missing is like I haven't, and again, a lot of them are young and they're it's only 5 games in, but this is all subset. Even with those things considered, the rookies have not looked good. They
No.
they haven't. Jaeger
No.
hasn't is only shooting threes. He
No.
can't dribble past anybody. Saraf can't shoot, and he also can't dribble past anybody.
No.
Nolan can't do anything around the rim. We haven't seen Danny. We haven't seen Drake.
Right.
Like you would like to see something from the rebuild, which is what this season's all about. Like show me that if we're gonna lose a ton of games and you're gonna draft someone this year with a high pick, give me something where I'm confident in your drafting abilities. I'm
Right.
not right now.
Right. And if you're going to sell that you're drafting 3, maybe 4 guards, You hope that one of them has the capability of getting by a defender off the dribble.
Yeah.
I mean, what world are we living in here? Like, and it's not to beat these young guys up. They're still so young. And Jordy said, I'm not worried about Yegor. He said that, like, right? Like, I'm not worried about his paint
He did.
touches. He's gonna develop. He's got to learn. But like, no, I am worried because if you can't dribble the ball, how guys are gonna be pickpocketing him every second. And we said this at on our draft pod. Um, Wilco had told us, like, if Yegor isn't getting picks high, he's not getting around a defender. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing high picks and him just kind of roving to the perimeter and either pulling up or passing out. Like, there's no activity at all. Ben Sarov, his jump shot is so ugly. I feel like I'm watching Ben Simmons a little bit when he shoots the ball. And that's not to be a wise guy or make fun of him or anything like that, but that form is slow. And if the form is slow and that three ball isn't going down, then he's just a high basketball IQ player that can pass the ball, which is what it feels like all of these guys are.
Yeah.
So again, it's premature. It's 5 games in. I don't want to like just harp on this, but it hasn't been a fun or reassuring start for Nets fans.
No. No, you're not wrong. I mean, Long Island season starts soon. It sounds like a lot of those guys could use minutes down there, so maybe that's where we'll look to see some progress, some positivity.
Right. And but I'll move on from this column, but I do want to kind of group not Nick Claxton. I want to group Noah Clowney in with the rookies because
Yeah.
we heard so much about how he bulked up, how great he looked this summer, and he's considered part of that core that Brooklyn is trying to build with. And I also haven't really seen much out of him. I don't know. Maybe you can comment on that too, but I haven't seen anything stick out from Noah Clowney other than him being stronger than he was last year.
Yeah, I mean, the first game against Charlotte, I kind of applauded him for putting the ball on the deck, driving a little bit more. I haven't really seen it since that point. I really think that's the next kind of like facet of his game because all the guy does is shoot threes. So if you're gonna draw like aggressive closeouts, you're a power forward, you're a big guy.
Right.
Draw a closeout, you should be able to use your size, use your strength, use your speed, take it off the dribble and score. So we tried to do that a couple times against Charlotte. Didn't always get the bucket, but I like the progress. Have not really seen it since. And the worst part of it is the 3-point shot has not been good. I think he's definitely shooting sub 30% from three right now.
Yeah.
Small sample size, but I mean that's where it all starts with him. That's like level one. That's the one thing he was always able to do was to stretch the floor as a bigger guy.
Yeah.
Haven't really seen that. I mean, his defense hasn't been like bad, I guess, but it hasn't been good. He's been a part of some of those poor defensive sequences as a team that I talked about earlier. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's troubling. He's younger than Danny Wolf, which is kind of funny. I think you're absolutely right. Like yeah, he kind of groups into this youth movement, even though he wasn't the 5 this year. But I mean, in doing so, it's again making it seem like the Nets did not draft well because it's not looking good. Where again, I just told you how young he is, but he's
Right.
been in the league for a while now. You want to see something. We're
Right.
not asking for much here. Be a
Some.
point guard who can penetrate the defense, be a big guy who can score inside. What big guys are supposed to do. We're not asking for much here. We're not getting it though.
You're right. And I don't know if you were there for Michael Porter Jr.'s comments, and these aren't bad comments. Some in Nets Nation took exception to it, but he was explaining how the Nets don't have stability at the point guard. And people felt like he was throwing the rookies under the bus because he said, we have 2 rookies running point right now, and it's the most important position. It's the most difficult position. And like, of course, he's saying they're struggling. And in a nice way, he's saying they're struggling and we're struggling because of that. And I think a lot of people said, how could this be the veteran leader in the locker room and everything like that? Now, I've been the first one to go after MPJ and what he says, but I didn't think he was necessarily wrong. Like, he's not lying. Would I say that publicly? I don't know, right? Like, I don't know if I would choose to say that and call them out publicly. But what he was saying was accurate. Like, all a lot of their problems, both on the offensive and defensive side, are because of their point guards or lack thereof. So I don't know if you had any thoughts or comments on that, just because you were covering the game and covering MPJ speaking that. I don't know if you thought of anything there or took anything away from that. Did you see it as a positive or as a negative?
No, I think it was just a guy who's, very will speak his mind, just like doing that. And like you said, he really wasn't wrong too. It's been a struggle. It's only 5 games, but it's been a struggle.
Right. Now, I mean, also remember he's also an NBA champion who's been in the league for 5 years. He's not used to a rebuild. He'd never had to do it in Denver, and he's probably looking at this and saying, "This is the worst team that I've ever been on."
Easily, easily.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, so even for him, maybe he's just thinking out loud. I don't think he was wrong for it. I think he said what we were all thinking, but people were really emphasizing that quote because it came directly from the locker room, and it's only been 5 games, and they drafted all these guards. So, while we're on the topic though, Colin, of these veterans, we don't have to go too deep into them, but I just want to hear your thoughts on Cam Thomas. He's been a little bit inconsistent. We saw that 41.9 assist outburst versus San Antonio. Um, but otherwise, it's just kind of been. It looks like somebody who is playing while watching over their shoulder. He looks like he's thinking a lot and probably too much, because he knows he's got to change the perception around the league and be this playmaker, but also do what he does best and score for a team that cannot score the rock. So what are you taking away from him through 5 games? Are you impressed? Are you disappointed?
Yeah, I think it's really just he has been inconsistent. Defense was never his forte, but it hasn't been great on offense. Some possessions he'll look super engaged, others he won't. So
Yeah,
I guess I'm not sure what to make of Cam. I think it's just the scoring outburst was a lot of fun to watch. Definitely appreciated that from what I said earlier about how these games don't feel like basketball games. That was him leading them back against the Spurs was the closest thing to a basketball kind of environment that we've had so far. So I don't know. I'm curious what he's thinking right now as someone who kind of played this way his career, and for that reason or otherwise, or maybe it was just a cap thing, but other teams aren't interested in him. We've heard that so many times. He doesn't have much value. For a guy
right.
who played that way and then didn't get the deal he was looking for that reason, I think it's a little bit odd that we haven't seen him change much, I guess. And I don't
Right.
want to make it all about the passing because he has moved the ball well to start this season, but he hasn't really turned in a complete, like five
No,
games, offense,
no.
defense, both sides of the ball yet.
Yeah.
Even the scoring sometimes he'll take a back seat, but I think that's one of those where I could chalk it up to he is playing with all these new players right now, trying to do different things, maybe looking behind his shoulder if he's going to get
Yeah.
taken out because of rookie minutes, stuff like that. Because I would never doubt his offensive capabilities, but yeah, just really mixed bag.
It's a good point to say that he's not. You would expect that level of effort, especially on the defensive end, to maybe have picked up just because of that perception. Yes, 2 days ago against Atlanta, in the early portions of the game and sporadically throughout the season, him and Claxton have had moments where the two-man game has worked nice, but
Yeah.
again, it's inconsistent. Do you see that being more a Cam thing? Do you see it being a Claxton thing? Because he's another one. Nick Claxton is very inconsistent right now, and I think a lot of people had high expectations for him.
Yeah, I mean, Claxton even said it after the game the other day. He was like, "Sometimes I feel like I'm just running around, like it's on me to get like more focused." So, I mean,
Right.
I appreciate his like candor in that moment, and he's right. But I do also think like there was one play where I clipped out Cam Thomas. It was against the Rockets. He got up, like tapped a rebound, fell hard on his back, came back down, like ran down the floor, got the ball, then took Kevin Durant off the dribble and got an and one like fade away. But as he comes in, he catches the ball and Michael Porter Jr. is right to his left and Traore is right to his right. And he literally
Yeah.
had to push Traore to say, go through the lane.
Right.
Like this offense, like this is a team of guys who don't seem to have any idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes, like I'm not as much like a as good of an X's and O's guy as like Lucas Kaplan is, but I'm sure Lucas would be able to go out and say like, all right, that guy probably should have been there. That guy should have been there. And
Right.
there are things that are happening like broken plays. It has the look
That's true.
where that's just collapsing all the time. And we know Cam Thomas doesn't need a play drawn up for him to score, but if you want him to work within the offense, everyone needs to be on the same page.
Right. It's spacing has definitely been an issue, but we knew that was going to be
It's
a
been
problem.
terrible.
They don't have any shooter. Like, but I think also, Colin, like it's an interesting point you just said. Like Nolan Traore not knowing where to be on the court. It's not an issue of Jordy's system or anything like that. It's fundamental basketball. You understand that if there are two guys on one side of the court on the perimeter, you cut. One of them has to cut to the other side. You shouldn't have to be told that. And again, this goes back to my point about the Nets praising these guys and really valuing high basketball IQ, but then you make mistakes like that, which I don't care if you're 35 in the NBA for 15 years or if you're 19 and you've never played an NBA game in your life. You know to cut, you know to slash. So I'm curious
Yeah.
if these guys are going to be held to the same level of accountability as other players in the past have been. We've seen that again, Cam Thomas being the prime example. And I think these guys are next up. They're going to have to learn the hard way. But I just, I'm having a hard time watching this. Like, it's like a tale of two teams: Nick Claxton, Michael Porter Jr., Cam Thomas, Terrence Mann, and then throw in one other guy. Like whoever it
Yeah.
might be. You have that team, and then you have Yegor, you have Tyrese Martin, you have Ben Saraf, and you have Nolan Traore, and these types of guys. I'm trying to understand. Again, I mentioned this earlier. Can Jordy like willfully tank? And they're already
Gonna
tanking, but
have to.
can he play these guys less? Like, does he have it in him as a coach, as a competitor, as a person to like say, yeah, you know what, I'm yanking Cam and MPJ early in the fourth. I don't think early in the season he has the capability to do that, and I'm curious in a couple of months from now what this dynamic is going to look like. Now, I know I'm not really asking you a question, but I guess what I'm trying to ask you is, do you see the clash in veterans and rookies becoming a problem for a team that is really, really, really prioritizing development?
I don't know, man. I don't have an answer for that right now. Like I certainly hope not. Like I don't know enough about these guys' personalities. Like these are
Yeah.
19-year-old kids. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I certainly hope not. I do think yeah, I lost my train of thought there, but no,
No, that's all right. That's all right. Don't worry about it. It's just, again, these are just thoughts that I've had through the games. I've texted you like 13 guys played tonight. The minute
yeah,
allocation is all over the place. I don't know if they're just testing lineups or if this is actually what it's going to be. But when you're developing 5 rookies and then a couple of other young players on top of that, while veteran players are trying to make their money and get theirs, it's really hard. I think that Jordy's gonna have a hard time coaching this team. You look at 2027. The Nets do not have their own draft pick. They have to do something this year. Not win 30 games, but do something. Show something. Get a good
yeah,
draft pick. Just show that the rookies that you drafted are solid. But
yeah. That's
again,
what people are gonna say. Like we're being negative, and it's only 5 games in, and we are. But I said it before. We're not asking for much. Also, we're not asking for them to win games. We're not asking
no,
for Yegor to be some like superstar point guard. Where we're asking for basic things to see, like being able to penetrate, being able to
right.
like knock down the occasionally wide open three, knowing not crowding one side of the court, knowing where to cut and when to cut, hustling on transition. Like these are we're not asking for much.
No, no. And anybody that's watched the show or has seen us write or tweet or spoken to us at all, they know that we would be the first ones to praise these guys. I mean, we saw Igor hit a 3 in summer league, and we were ready to throw
Through a
a
party.
30-minute podcast for him for real.
Uh,
Like we want to see these guys do good. I think it's just the fundamentals. Like The
Yes.
fundamentals.
Yeah.
Getting back on defense, like you said, penetrating and showing capability to do more than just hit a three. And I'm sad that we have our first season podcast and we don't really have much to take away from these rookies other than Yegor can shoot a three.
I got a positive, and I got a bit of a hot take with it. I think Tyrese Martin has developed more than any other player on the Nets in the last year and 3 weeks.
I don't think that's a hot take.
Maybe
They'd
not.
probably
I
tell
guess
you
it's,
the
it's
same.
not something I expected to say. I guess
Yeah.
the way he's been, like he was for a while, he was just a shooter. The way he's been, he can get into the paint. He had a multiple. I clipped out one of the plays. It was actually kind of like a funky little like Nets offensive sequence where they there was a lot of good and a lot of bad. I just called it interesting because I didn't know how to tag it, but he got a pump fake on a three, drove, puts pressure on the basket last minute, whipped it around to Clowney out for a wide open three. Jordy said after the last game, because we asked him about why didn't any of the younger guys play more, and he was like, I think like Tyrese deserved those minutes, and he
Yeah.
totally did. And so it's not just the dribble penetration and being able to be like a complete player, but it's the shooting's been there too. I don't know what he's shooting on the year, but good enough to have me believe it's probably close to like 40%, maybe like 35. It's Tyrese Martin.
Yeah. He deserves the golf clap and he deserves the shout out. There was a lot of hype coming from summer league and better yet from the off season and training camp. We had written about it a lot on Nets Daily about Tyrese Martin's hype, and now he's seemingly fitting into that. Again, we're only 5 games in, so all of this is very premature, but little takeaways.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Colin, I don't have too much other than a lot of ugly texts from friends. Have you gotten any texts about Nets basketball? Why don't you give the Brooklyn podcast people the rundown of this segment?
Yeah, so Pooch and I were talking the other day, and I don't know if it's the same for other like Nets writers or if you're like a big content creator. If people know you're associated with the Nets, they tend to want to share their opinion with you. It's usually not like the hottest thing in the world, but oftentimes funny.
Yeah.
So we're introducing a new segment called Text I Received About the Nets This Week. I get texts from like aunts and uncles. I like just like out of the blue sometimes, and whether it's like innocent saying like, I remember my dad texted me last year and he was like, it's after one of Tyrese Martin's like 5 3-point games, and he was like, this guy could be an all-star. And I was like, you bet, pops. Like Tyrese Martin, if you're listening, I would love to see you make the All-Star game, but I think we agree there's some other steps to clear before that. But nonetheless, I mean, this week, I'll read off what I got. Here we go. It's just play bad, play bad, play bad. Weird run where Cam and MPJ make a fuck ton of fadeaway threes. Play bad. I think that's almost exactly how we talked about the offense earlier. This one's a little more colorful. Remember the chill broccoli guy in the hot tub meme? That's what I see every time I look at Nolan Traore. I don't really like his game, but I also don't like broccoli. Would be dishonest of me to pretend that's not a factor here.
That's unbelievable. Sorry, Nolan.
Both of those are from friends. I would be not my older aunts and uncles texting me that, but yeah. So that's what we got. So
your friend should write for Nets Daily. That's very articulate.
It's creative, right? Yeah,
it's really creative.
That one might have been after a couple drinks on a Thursday night out, but yeah.
Those are when you get the best types of things.
You're right. Yeah. So
those are when you get the color.
Yeah, that's our little intro to this new segment. We'll see. As long as I keep getting those texts, we'll keep it up.
So on my end, I had a twofold from my cousin. He says, first off, what the fuck am I watching? That was game one.
Yeah.
and then I think it was against San Antonio when they were when they were getting blown out before the comeback. He texted me again and was like, WTF am I watching for? Like he but the thing is, like, he wasn't being a wise ass. Like, he was actually asking me, like, Like, what am I supposed to be watching for? Funny
Mm,
enough, Cam Thomas ended up going off, but I was talking to him about it. I was like, what do you mean? Like you're a Nets fan? And he's like,
mhm.
yeah, but like, what am I watching for? Like, I'm not seeing the rookies play a lot, and Cam isn't doing much. And I was like, well, he you call this a fair weather fan. He's not like a diehard Nets fan.
Yeah.
So my sell to him was like, you like Cam Thomas? He's playing on a contract year. Like,
Mm.
if that's what gives you a reason to watch someone, maybe drop 40. Another text
Yeah.
I got was from my brother just saying I'm not watching any games this year.
Yeah.
So, um, and then I got another one from this was from like a league source, and he says, "Oh boy, this is worse than 12 and 70."
It looks that way.
That's a question that's worth asking, and I might do that in our next Nets daily poll. Just like, is does this feel worse than 12 and 70? Right now, no. To me, no.
It's one I can't answer. 12 and 70, I think I was in, like, 5th or 6th grade. Like, I was
Yeah,
watching, but I wasn't quite as, like, locked in, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I'd be curious to hear what other people have to say.
I watched every single game of that season. I don't know why, but I did, and it was like the first. It never seemed like they were gonna win. Like 18 games to lose to start the season. Like you have Lawrence Frank like jump on the sidelines after they're 1-18. And at that point too, like there wasn't much to look forward to with the team they had because it was like Devin Harris was on his way out. It was like Mehmet Okur, Brooke Lopez got hurt, or he played. It was his rookie season or something like that. I'm
Yeah.
mixing up the last season in Brooklyn in 2009 and 2010. Chris Douglas Roberts and that team, Troy Murphy, and like a bunch of just dudes you didn't know about. But again, back then you had a higher chance at getting a first pick. A top 3 pick was 25%. So at least I feel like Nets fans during that year, the games didn't matter. It was just like, yeah, we'll watch Chris Humphries drop 12 and 10 every game, and Brooke Lopez, sorry. Again, I'm mixing up the seasons. So
Mhm.
we might have to just like cut this.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, though, I do wanna give what one shout out. Now, this is gonna sound like I'm, like, being promotional, but, like and I told them, the Nets took me on, like, a little tour of their new
Yeah.
Modelo Bridge, like, at the top of the thing. If you're a Nets fan, you should definitely go check that out. I mean, I don't know, everyone here knows I'm a big baseball fan. I can't even tell you the amount of times I've gone to Yankee Stadium and I'll get like nosebleed seats, but I'll just go to that like terrace where there's like the bar in like center field. It's
Yeah.
like a good view of the game, and also like you can like walk around and stuff. The Nets put that's like what that Modelo Bridge is. It's got a really cool view, huge bar, huge just like open area. I think that's one of the coolest things that like I would have put that in my Barclays Center Mount Rushmore we did a couple weeks ago if it was there when we were still doing it. Just because I'm someone who doesn't really like crowds. Another reason why I don't like Halloween, but that is why like it totally has like open space. You can walk around. Like it is just really cool. So if you're at a game and maybe the team's not performing too high, go up and check that out because I genuinely thought it was pretty cool.
Is it
I'll
is
have
it
a,
a
I'll have
similar
a
vibe
story
to
on it.
the is
I'll
yeah.
have a story on it eventually too.
Take a look at that on netsdaily.com. Colin, I want to ask, like, is it similar to the Honda Club that's next to the media section?
I mean, I don't even know what is the Honda Club. It sounds
That
like I've walked
little
past it if it's in the media section.
Yeah, you look to the left, it's like a open bar area, like a square almost. It's got the red carpet down. It's
Yeah,
literally right next to the media section.
everything's on the left when I walk into the media section. You're saying it's on the right? The right's the
Well,
tunnel that leads to the visitor locker room and stuff like
you're
there.
still in section 115?
Oh no, I'm thinking of the basement, like the
Oh, no,
media
no, no,
center.
no, in your media seat upstairs, like, they have a Honda
Oh, you
Club
mean
behind
press
the
row?
hoop.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I know. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was
yeah.
thinking downstairs. You're thinking, yeah. It's like that, but it's 5 times as big because it's literally the width
Wow.
of, like, the entire baseline and, like, wraps around. It's on the opposite
Wow.
side. Yeah, and it's all the way at the top, so, obviously, you're not as close to the court, but it's like I mean, you know how Barclays is, like,
That's
it's
cool
almost
though.
you can, like, look down and everything's, like, right there.
Did you see a lot of diehard Nets fans there? Or are you seeing more just people that are looking to have a good night out?
Just people are gonna have a good night out, which is
Yeah.
what I would expect. Outside of maybe the home opener, I mean, I saw a Chris Humphreys jersey, which gave me, Slater, and Lucas Cap when I pointed out. We all got a good laugh out of it. So you will see some. You got to be a diehard to have a
I
Humphreys
have the
jersey.
Chris Humphries jersey on me right now.
I believe it, Pooch.
I know. I told you.
Yeah,
The only Nets jerseys I would buy are the most unique players on the team.
yeah. So there's some fans there, but there's definitely what it seems like a lot of people who are just like don't really like are just like, oh, I'm in New York City. I want to go whether I'm visiting or like someone who doesn't really care about basketball. So it's why would I pay $200 to go see the Knicks when I can
Right.
pay $60 to go see the Nets? It's an obvious choice.
Yeah. I got a lot of flack for a tweet about that, about Nets ticket prices being a little bit high. I did think $60 was high to get into a 0-4 basketball team that's like intentionally losing.
Yeah,
But I think I'm terribly mistaking that things have changed a lot since the Russians moved the Nets to Brooklyn and the size took over. I think they look at this as more of a business venture where Mikhail Prokhorov really had a 5-year plan to win. Like,
yeah,
and then he wanted to sell. Like, he wanted to strictly just get the Nets to Brooklyn and win. Where I think now, uh, yeah, Barclays Center has become a hub. They're building that whole ecosystem around it and spending a ton of money to make Brooklyn and Barclays Center a spot. So these things that you mentioned, the Modelo area, I don't know what is it called, Colin?
the Modelo. I think it's maybe not called the Modelo Bridge, but
Like the
it is
Gallagher
a
Terrace.
Modelo Bridge. The Gallagher Terrace is something else, but the bridge anyone can go to, and it's huge and that cool.
Huge. So my point being is that it seems like they're building this huge ecosystem around Barclays Center, and I was wrong for thinking that the Nets were the same Nets from 5-10 years ago, or even Jersey, because those tickets were like $5-10 to sit behind the hoop when they were bad. I just thought, getting a lot of responses like this is still a business at the end of the day, and I thought, a little customer loyalty, keeping prices low for maybe at least the upper sections would be beneficial for their fan base. But nonetheless, it's still cool that they're building and instilling all of these new features into the stadium. That goes for like bars, restaurants. There's advanced tech now that if you're blind, you can now access games and follow it with a
Yeah,
touchpad that the NBA provides and the Nets provide. So the experience seems to be getting better, but everything, like everything else, it's becoming more expensive.
that's life, baby. That's New
That's
York.
live. So on that note, you and we got to go pay the bills. So
That we
if you
do.
have any last comments, Colin Helwig, be my guest.
No, it's Halloween. It's also my mom's birthday. I don't know if
Happy
she's
birthday, Mrs. Helwig.
a frequent listener of the Brooklyn with Pooch and Colin, but happy birthday, Ma. Best doctor in the Lehigh Valley. And happy Halloween, everyone else.
Happy birthday to Colin's mother. Happy Halloween to everybody else. Otherwise, you can hear from the Brooklyn in a couple of weeks. Probably give us 2 weeks and we'll be back on. Give us a shout on any social media platform, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on whatever it might be, at The Brooklyn Pod. And if you want to reach out to us with any questions, concerns, comments, you want to tell Colin how good he looked as Jackson Dart, or you want to wish Mrs. Helwig a happy birthday, don't email us at thebrooklynpod@gmail.com. That's thebrooklynpod@gmail.com. Happy Halloween. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.